I think we can all agree that Giannis so far has been the main attraction in the NBA, and the numbers he's putting up are crazy. But honestly, I don't think he'll win MVP.
Get the fuck up out of town before we run your ass, nigga. I am the dog. Get a nigga chopped up on a Tuesday. Why the club going up on a Tuesday? This is doomsday. I can have Guadalupe come through and knock down a Trump out his toupee. Now look at his brains on the sidewalk.
While I don't think he's gonna be the MVP, he is still having a great season. And I think it'd be a shame for you not to see him play this season. And our guys at SeatGeek can hook you up. SeatGeek is an app that gets all the prices from all over the web and gets you the best deals for whatever event you want to go to. They show you a map of where all the available seats are, the good ones marked with green and the bad ones marked with red. And you can even check what the seats are going to look like before you even go. Check the link in the description and use code BSOS for $20 off your first purchase. Now going back to the MVP award. Look, here's my thing about Giannis. He's putting up ridiculous numbers, right? 30 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.5 steals, and 1.5 blocks per game. But in my opinion, there is one other player out there that is putting up just as impressive numbers and is winning while they're doing it. But like I said with my original MVP predictions video, which so far it's really not looking that good with Kawhi being out, LeBron and his Cavaliers having a losing record, and the same with Russell Westbrook's Thunder. There are 3 categories that the MVP and the award and the voters seem to consider every single year to decide who the winner is. Number 1 is stats, number 2 is winning, and number 3 is the storyline. Now, are these 3 categories evenly distributed every year? No, they are not. 2005 was more about winning and the storyline than pure stats. 2002 was more about stats and winning than the storyline. And last year, more about stats and the storyline more than winning. It varies every year, but as a general guideline, this is what they consider. And while Giannis does have the stats to show for it this year, I'm not too sure exactly what his storyline is. Like please, can someone tell me? Because I'm honestly confused. Yes, we're seeing that he may be the next face of the league, but in terms of just this season alone, I'm not too sure if Giannis really has that one definitive storyline that people can attach to him. And as far as the winning part, look, I think the addition of Bledsoe combined with the return of Jabari, who I also forgot to mention in my last video, I think they definitely do have the personnel to compete with any team in the East in a 7-game series, including the Cavs. But I still think record-wise, the Celtics will end up having a better record. The Wizards will end up having a better record. The Raptors will also end up having a better record. And I do expect the Cavs at some point to start winning again. So I also expect the Cleveland Cavaliers to have a better record. And look, there was already so much debate whether a guy who led his team to the 6th seed in the West while averaging a triple-double deserved MVP last year with Russell Westbrook. And now this year, we could potentially have a guy who isn't averaging a triple-double be the 5th seed in the weaker conference. That might just create more debate. Now, if they end up with a top 3 seed, then it's a whole different story. But like I said, with Jabari coming back and the addition of Bledsoe, it's gonna take a couple of weeks, in my opinion, for them to get acclimated with one another, and it might be the difference they need to be the 3rd seed and not be the 5th seed, and that's gonna matter in the MVP voting. Again, as long as Giannis is putting up these numbers, he will be in the race for MVP. I'm just not too sure if he'll win it. However, don't get it twisted, he's having an MVP caliber year. Now you might be asking, if it's not Giannis BSOS, then who's the MVP then? The name I'd like to throw out there is, yet again, he finds another way to amaze us in the regular season. I'd like to throw out James Harden. Yes, the guy that was having an all-time great offensive season last year is doing it again. And it's kind of crazy, since you'd think after not getting the MVP because you didn't win in 2015, and then 2 years later not getting the MVP because you didn't put up good enough stats, that you'd honestly just give in and focus on team basketball. But here's the thing with James Harden. I think he is focused on winning in team basketball. It's just he's naturally putting up these numbers, and at this point, it's insane that this is his natural state. Now, why should James Harden be the MVP over Giannis? Simply put, James Harden is doing what many people were expecting LeBron James to do this season with Isaiah Thomas being out. And that is to put up insane numbers and carry his team to victories despite having their 2nd best player injured. With James Harden, that is Chris Paul. So far, he is carrying this team to the 3rd best record in the NBA once again, and I for one don't see anything slowing them down from consistently winning like this, because, you know, they're only going to get better when Chris Paul comes back. And 2, they know how to play without him anyways. I mean, they've done it for a couple of years now. So in terms of winning, I think he'll have that box checked off. In terms of stats, the man's putting up 30 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds, and a steal and a half per game on one of the most efficient years from the field and from 3 he's ever had. Are they impressive as Giannis? To me personally, I wouldn't say so, but you can argue they are, since statistically, James Harden is accounting for 50 points per game. That is ridiculous. But I think Giannis's efficiency is crazy, but that's another argument for another day. The point is, his stats are on the same level as Giannis. But I know there is still some concern with how his stats will look once Chris Paul gets back. And I know it's a small sample size, right? And it's only one game. But in the one game they did play together, which was the season opener, Harden still put up 27 points, 11 assists, and 6 rebounds. And won the game as well. So it might go down just slightly, maybe 1 less assist and maybe 2 less points. But I don't think it'll decrease that much. As far as the storyline, I mean, since people were all on Kawhi and the Spurs for having a winning record without Kawhi for like 10 games, people at least should be on James Harden for carrying this team to one of the best records in the league without Chris Paul for, you know, the last 10, 15 games. Probably even more, since we don't really know when Chris Paul is coming back. And I think the whole "I deserved MVP last year, let me prove it again" storyline may be in play for Harden as well. Honestly, you know what, even without the storyline, I just think Harden's combination of stats and winning this year compared to everyone else may be too much for voters to say no to, because although Giannis is putting up ridiculous ass numbers, I don't think they're crazy enough like averaging a 30-point triple-double to widely consider over a guy putting up arguably just as ridiculous numbers, if not more ridiculous numbers, and leading his team to a top 3-4 record in the league. Once again, I just like to emphasize that this has nothing to do with Giannis's future, right? And his potential in the league. Whether he wins MVP or not this season, he and his team are still in position to be one of the marquee names in the NBA for the next upcoming years. However, for this year and this year alone, I just think James Harden, finally, may be the winner of the NBA's Most Valuable Player Award. But with that being said, let me know who's going to be the MVP this year. Is it going to be James Harden? Is it still going to be Giannis? Let me know why. Keep it respectful. Maybe it's LeBron James. Who knows, man? Let me know in the comment section down below what y'all think about this whole MVP race. But with that being said, I am out. Peace.